Welcome to Vacation Quest. Today we're ranking the 15 best small towns in Connecticut. Connecticut is one of the smallest states in the country, but don't let the size fool you. This place has a ghost town on cursed land that's been closed to the public for a century. A town that held off the British Navy with 2 cannons, and the spot where Yale University was born before the school packed up and left. Counting down 15 of the most fascinating small towns in the Nutmeg State. Number 15. Willimantic, population 17,000. In the northeast corner of the state, Willimantic is known as Thread City. The most visited landmark here is the Frog Bridge. 4 giant frog sculptures sitting on top of oversized spools of thread right in the middle of town. The frogs reference a real 1754 event where locals woke up to what sounded like a battle coming from the pond. They grabbed weapons and ran out, only to find hundreds of frogs fighting each other to the death over a drying water source. That became known as the Battle of the Frogs, and Willimantic never let it go. Every 4th of July, the town holds the Boombox Parade, where marchers carry radios all tuned to the same station instead of a live band. The Wyndham Textile and History Museum tells the full story of the cotton mills that built this place. Number 14. Chester, population 3,700. Chester sits along the Connecticut River in Middlesex County and keeps a tradition most people outside the state have never heard of. Every February, the town holds a tractor parade, where decorated farm equipment rolls through the historic downtown in the middle of winter. It started as a local thing and just kept happening. Chester also has the Chester-Haddam Ferry, which has been crossing the Connecticut River continuously since 1769, before the country existed. For a few dollars, you can make that same crossing today. Number 13. Kent, population 3,000. Kent is a small town in Litchfield County near the New York border, with a couple of things worth making a trip for. Kent Falls State Park has one of the best waterfall series in the state, a long cascading drop you can walk right alongside. Bull's Bridge is one of only 2 covered wooden bridges in Connecticut that cars can still drive over, crossing the Housatonic River on a structure dating to the 1800s. George Washington crossed this river near here during the Revolution. The main street has art galleries and restaurants without ever feeling overrun by tourists. Number 12. Norfolk, population 1,700. Norfolk is in the far northwest corner of Connecticut in Litchfield County, and it holds the highest elevation of any town in the state. That cooler climate pulled wealthy New Yorkers here to build summer estates in the 1800s, which eventually produced the Norfolk Chamber Music Festival, running every summer since 1941 at the historic Ellen Battelle Steckel Estate. It's one of the oldest chamber music festivals in the country. Haystack Mountain State Park has a stone tower at the summit, with views into 5 states on a clear day. Number 11. Bethlehem, population 3,400. Bethlehem is a small town in Litchfield County, and every December it becomes what might be the most in-demand post office in New England. Thousands of people send their Christmas cards here just to get the Bethlehem postmark. The post office offers close to 100 different Christmas-themed stamps, but the stranger story belongs to the Abbey of Regina Laudis, a Benedictine convent on a 400-acre hillside in town founded in 1947. One of the nuns who lives there is Mother Dolores Hart, a former Hollywood actress who gave Elvis Presley his first on-screen kiss, appeared with him in 2 films, and then walked away from her career at age 24 to join this convent in 1963. She is still there. She is also still a voting member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, making her the only nun with an Oscar ballot. Number 10. Deep River. Population 4,400. Deep River is a small town in Middlesex County that most people have never heard of, but it hosts one of the most unusual events in the country. Every 3rd Saturday in July since 1953, the town holds the Deep River Ancient Muster, the largest and oldest gathering of fife and drum corps in the world. In 1976, the event set a Guinness World Record. Up to 80 groups from across the country and as far away as Switzerland marched through downtown in period uniforms, playing Revolutionary War and Civil War-era music on wooden rope-tension drums and fifes. They call it a colonial Woodstock. The rest of the year, the town is quiet enough that you might not realize something that significant happens here once a year. Number 9. Litchfield. Population 8,300. Litchfield is the county seat of Litchfield County in western Connecticut, with one of the best preserved 18th century downtowns in New England. The fact that stands out: this is where the first law school in the United States opened. The Litchfield Law School was founded in 1784 by a lawyer named Tapping Reeve. Before it existed, becoming a lawyer meant apprenticing with someone who was already one. That one small school trained over 1,000 students, including 2 vice presidents, dozens of senators, and more than 100 members of Congress. The original one-room schoolhouse is still on South Street and open to the public. Harriet Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, was born in Litchfield in 1811. Number 8. Essex. Population 6,700. Essex is a river town in Middlesex County with an unusual attitude about its own history. Every spring, the town holds the Losers' Day Parade, celebrating April 1814, when British Marines rowed up the Connecticut River and burned 28 American ships right in the harbor. It was one of the biggest single economic losses the United States took during the entire War of 1812. Essex marks it with a parade. The Essex Steam Train is one of the most popular attractions in the state, a fully operational 1920s steam train that runs along the river and connects to a riverboat cruise. The Griswold Inn on Main Street has been continuously open since 1776, making it one of the oldest operating taverns in America. Number 7. Old Saybrook. Population 10,500. Old Saybrook sits where the Connecticut River meets Long Island Sound, and 2 things happened here worth knowing about. First, Yale University started here. In 1701, the Collegiate School of Connecticut opened in Old Saybrook and operated for 15 years before moving to New Haven. When the school voted to leave, residents were so furious they broke the wheels off the ox carts trying to stop the books from going. A stone marker in the old cemetery still reads, "The first site of Yale College, founded 1701, removed 1716. Second, Katharine Hepburn. The 4-time Academy Award-winning actress spent summers in Old Saybrook's Fenwick neighborhood and eventually retired here. She died here in 2003. The Katharine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center on Main Street carries her story. Number 6. Stonington Borough. Population 1,000. Stonington Borough is a small peninsula in southeastern Connecticut with under 1,000 residents. and one of the more remarkable military records in state history. In August 1814, 4 British warships anchored offshore and bombarded the town for 4 straight days, demanding surrender. Stonington said no. Using just 2 18-pound cannons, local defenders held off the entire attack until the Navy gave up and sailed away. Those same 2 cannons are still in Cannon Square today. Stonington also holds Connecticut's last remaining commercial fishing fleet, and in 1820, local sea captain Nathaniel Palmer is believed to be among the first people in history to sight the continent of Antarctica during a sealing voyage. His house is still on Palmer Street. Number 5. Old Lyme. Population 7,600. Old Lyme is a coastal town in New London County, and it earned a place in medical history it probably never wanted. In 1975, a cluster of children and adults in this area developed an unusual form of arthritis that doctors couldn't explain. Yale researchers investigated and identified a new disease, naming it after the towns where it was found, Lyme disease. Today, it's the most commonly reported tick-borne illness in the country, with tens of thousands of cases diagnosed every year. Beyond that, Old Lyme was the center of one of the most important American Impressionist art colonies in the country in the early 1900s. The Florence Griswold House, where painters like Childe Hassam gathered and worked, is now a museum on Lyme Street. Now we're in the top 4. These are the towns with the strongest stories on this list. Number 4. Woodstock. Population 8,200. Woodstock is in Connecticut's quiet corner in Windham County, and it has one of the most distinctive buildings in New England. Roseland Cottage, built in 1846, is painted vivid pink and designed in the Gothic Revival style, with pointed gables and decorative woodwork that looks nothing like any other house on the road. 4 sitting presidents were entertained here, including Ulysses S. Grant, who had to smoke his cigars on the porch because the teetotaler owner banned smoking inside. Grant reportedly drank covertly anyway. Inside the estate's outbuilding is the oldest surviving indoor bowling alley in the country, built when the house was first constructed. It's a National Historic Landmark and open for tours. Number 3. East Haddam and Moodus. Population 9,000. East Haddam is a town in Middlesex County that fits more history into its 57 square miles than most places twice its size. Inside its borders is the village of Moodus, whose name comes from the Native American word Moodus, meaning place of bad noises. That name was not casual. For centuries, the area around Mount Tom has produced deep underground booming sounds with no clear source. The Wangunk people believe the noises were the voice of their god. Puritan settlers assumed it was Satan. In 1760, King George reportedly sent an alchemist named Dr. Steele to Connecticut, specifically to investigate and stop the sounds, which tells you how far the reputation had spread. Scientists eventually concluded they come from shallow micro-earthquakes. H.P. Lovecraft used the Moodus noises as the basis for his 1929 story, The Dunwich Horror. The sounds still happen today. Back in East Haddam proper, the Goodspeed Opera House opened on the Connecticut River in 1877 and launched major Broadway musicals, including Annie and Shenandoah. Gillette Castle, the stone fortress built by actor William Gillette in 1914, sits on a ridge above the river, and Nathan Hale, one of the Revolution's most famous spies, taught at a one-room schoolhouse here during the winter of 1773. before his capture and execution in 1776. And now, the top 2. Number 2. Cornwall and Dudleytown. Population of Cornwall, 1,400. Cornwall is a quiet Litchfield County town in northwestern Connecticut. Inside its borders sits one of the most talked about abandoned settlements in the country. Dudleytown is in a valley called the Dark Entry Forest, surrounded by hills that blocked sunlight even at noon. Settlers moved in during the 1740s, and what followed is hard to explain away entirely. Crop failures. Multiple residents reportedly going insane. A Revolutionary War general losing his mind after his wife was struck by lightning outside their home. The land has been privately owned and closed to the public since 1924. Dan Aykroyd has called it the most haunted place on Earth. Historians point to poor soil and isolation as the real reason the settlement failed, which is probably true. But the owners still refuse access, and local police still patrol the roads around it. And the number 1 small town in Connecticut is number 1. Mystic. Population, 4,300. Mystic is a coastal village in southeastern Connecticut on the Mystic River, and it earned the top spot because almost nothing else on this list compares to the scale of what's preserved here. Between the late 1700s and the Civil War, this village built over 600 ships and was one of the most productive shipbuilding ports on the East Coast. Mystic Seaport Museum is the largest maritime museum in the United States, with over 500 historic watercraft and a working shipyard that still actively restores vessels on site. The star of the collection is the Charles W. Morgan, an 1841 whaling ship that is the oldest surviving merchant vessel in the world and the only wooden whaling ship left from the entire 19th century American fleet. The 1988 film that helped launch Julia Roberts' career was named after a real pizza restaurant in town that is still open today. The Mystic Aquarium is one of the few places in the country with beluga whales. Mystic works as a real town, not a manufactured attraction, which is part of what makes it the best on this list. That's 15 of the most fascinating small towns in Connecticut. From cursed forests and the world's largest fife and drum gathering to the oldest merchant ship alive and the town that gave an illness its name, the Constitution State packs more stories per square mile than almost anywhere else. If you're from Connecticut, drop a comment. Tell us which of these you've been to, what we got right, and what we missed. And if you're new here, subscribe. We cover states all across the country, and there's a lot more coming.